Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a smashing new recording, really good, of CPE Bach Symphonies, Berlin Symphonies, featuring the Arte dei Suonatori under Marcin Światiewicz. This is a Polish group. He's a Polish keyboardist, cembalist, harpsichord player. And this is not like Arte del Violino or one of those other Arte del things, that we have heard many times doing creaky, awful period instrument performances. This is a really good group. In this particular disc, it looks like they number about 10 people for any particular symphony. The symphonies are written for strings and continuo in their original versions, which is what they use here. There are a couple more Berlin symphonies which will appear, they say, on a future volume, along with those last marvelous symphonies in 12 obligato parts, the crazy late ones. Those are coming, supposedly, according to Mr. Światiewicz. He says so here. And they've already done the Hamburg symphonies, which I have not heard. And I looked on Amazon and I don't see them. I bet they are on Presto. I ordered them right away. So we will be talking about them. And I really hope they do the complete cycle of CPE Bach symphonies, because if they do, it's going to be probably the one to get. I mean, there just isn't that much. So yeah, I'm very excited about this because these performances are beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, they seem to be playing on periody instruments sort of things, but the string sound is warm and in tune and lovely and transparent and expressive. The tempi are lively throughout, but not like, ridiculous, so that you think that, it's all happening in a blur. The slow movements are expressive. I mean, they're really, really good performances. And the continuo, the harpsichord, which you have to have in these works. I mean, CPE Bach wrote out his continuo parts. You can't, we're not like talking about Haydn where they're either optional or better left out entirely, because there's no evidence he ever needed them. But here you definitely have to have a harpsichord. And he has an attractive instrument that does not obliterate the strings and turn each work into a harpsichord concerto, which you do not want. It's really a well-made, thoughtful, intelligent, beautifully engineered, warmly recorded set of performances, which may be all you need to know to rush out and get them. But let me tell you a little bit about the works. The Berlin symphonies were early works, written when CPE Bach was still hanging out with Frederick the Great. That was that period where Bach showed up and wrote the musical offering and all of that stuff, because his kid had a job with the king and all that. It was really a big deal. CPE Bach was very unhappy with Frederick the Great. Frederick the Great's tastes were very conservative, and CPE Bach, wanted to do much more interesting things. Frederick the Great also played the flute, that for which his court composer, the official one, CPE Bach was the court cembalist, keyboard player. He got to accompany His Majesty in endless reams of Quantz flute sonatas. Oh, what fun that must have been. Ugh. Oh, my God. So anyway, there are actually 8 Berlin symphonies, 6 of which are here. The smaller ones for strings, the one with winds, shall appear, they claim, on the next volume. They are Wotken. Let's see, you ready for this? Wotken is the catalog guy, like Kerschel and Mozart or, whatever. Anyway, it's, 179, 180, 178, 175, 173, and 176 in that order. CPE Bach also has H numbers, just to make things even more confusing. But these are splendid works. They're not as daring as the Hamburg symphonies, or the symphonies with 12 obligato parts. They don't have those, extremes of weird, abrupt mood changes. But there's a lot here that's unexpected and that keeps you listening, that keeps the ear tantalized. I mean, I really like the first one, the E flat major, 179. And there's the E minor, which is 178, and they're just, the music still doesn't ever quite go where you expect it to. It's full of character, full of personality, which is exactly why Frederick the Great was never a big fan of CPE Bach, the composer, and CPE Bach had to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible so that he could do more with music that he liked rather than that which His Majesty demanded. But they're still remarkable pieces, and they are beautifully, beautifully played, and I just love this disc. I really did, and you will too. If you like, proto-classical symphonies by a real master, a guy who was constantly looking for ways to make his music interesting. He never rested on his laurels, and he didn't sound anything like his dad, which is kind of amazing when you consider that a bunch of these they were composed in sort of overlapping when Papa was still around, and the style is totally different, and it's a fascinating comparison to make. So I would grab this. You're gonna love it. It's wonderful. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.